What is going on, everybody? Bobby Fi and Eric Sheetsaber and Rody. Sorry about that. I'm just so used to it the old other way. We're going to be talking through this 11-game NFL slate, 12 on FanDuel. And it's the one good thing I really like about this slate so far is I don't feel like we have a lot of question marks. And usually we would be getting in a flurry of stuff right during the show. But right now it looks like we pretty much know what everyone's doing, and I'm ready to get after it. So Sheets, overall thoughts, and then we'll go to Rody before we get into position by position. What do you think about the slate, and what do you sort of find about it?
First of all, there is a little bit of question stuff for a later game. The Amari Cooper, I want to keep an eye on that. He's been questionable all week, and nothing. I've no confirmation on that yet.
They say that he's likely to play with a cast.
Oh God. Okay.
So, that was the last update I heard, and that was about 15 minutes ago. But
okay. Yeah, just a pretty standard type slate. And what I'm trying to figure out is what to force in versus what to let the Sims and my projections just kind of roll with. Mm-hmm. What to do about maximizing stacks or minimizing stacks. There's a couple of guys that I just kind of don't feel like playing. We'll talk about that. Yeah. A couple of things I just kind of want to just play also. We'll put that in. Listen, I'm playing 300 lineups throughout all my freaking lineups. Probably healthy to put something in of your own take, And I guess we should just we'll get to it when we get to it, I suppose.
Yeah. I'm interested in what those are going to be. How about you, Rody? What are your overall thoughts?
Yeah, I'm interested in hearing what those stacks are for Sheets that he doesn't want to play or wants to force in, because I kind of want to force in a little bit of my own takes today too, a little bit more. So yeah, it'll be interesting when we get talking about that. So yeah, I mean, we can get into it. I'm excited for today. So
yeah, I'll pull up the screen real quick and just go. For what it's worth, I'm just going to move my core thing over here. I really think that this is a tough slate for value. So I do think people are going to overly force in, not even overly, it's just they're going to force in some of that stuff like Samuel and plays like that and from the afternoon game, because Cooper should be somewhat hobbled. So getting into it, starting at quarterback, we'll start with you, Rody. What are you finding here?
I mean, it kind of goes with what my stacks are today. I think my favorite quarterbacks are going to be I like Purdy a lot today in that San Fran game. I like Jameis Winston at 5,500. I like Tua at 6K. Let me see. Yeah, that's those are my three main guys in my main lineups I think I really like. And then I'm debating on a few of my other guys. I know Bo Nix is kind of popping a little bit in that game. I'm debating on getting a little bit of exposure there. And then my other guy is Jordan Love. I do like the Packers. They are kind of paced up game, but I know it's divisional outside, so I'm a little worried. But I'm thinking about putting that into one of my main builds is kind of more contrarian play for my fifth lineup. So those are kind of the five plus a couple flyers there that I like today.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's playing that Packer thing. And it did cross my mind. I haven't gotten to much of it myself, but I think it's an interesting way to go. How about you, Sheets, as far as quarterbacks? And
so right now, the way I did everything, I'm kind of along with Rody here. My top guy is probably everybody's top guy, and that's going to be Jameis Winston. Mm-hmm. Good weather, cheap receivers, good matchup, quarterback that don't give an F. It's a good kind of a good combination of everything on a slate, which really is not. It's not. I don't project to be that high scoring. Doesn't seem that way, at least. So I do like him. I'm afraid I'm a little bit too over the field on him and Tillman. We'll get to all that stuff a little bit later, but right now that's where I am. And then right alongside of Rody as well with Purdy and Geno, my next group, and Tua as well. I'd love to force in a little more Tua if I can, because I'm really not getting too much of his receivers. I'm getting we'll get there, but I'm only getting 6% Tyreek Hill, 0 Waddle. I'm getting some skinny Tua with A-Chain maybe, and maybe some Jonnu, but I do kind of want to get a little more receivers in there. So right now I'm considering boosting Tua a little bit, and then the guy that I'm just going to play just because as I mentioned, the target shares are right there, and obviously they've struggled, but I am going to play some Aaron Rodgers here. With the very obvious connections, and that's kind of where I am as far as quarterback goes. Except the guy again that I brought up really early in the week which on a slate where nothing's that great. I'm gonna force in the Caleb Williams. I'm gonna do it.
I
And
like
I
that game.
talked about it earlier in the week, and Kevin, I spoke to him on the phone. He gave me like an emergency phone call to me, like begging me not to do it. And to the point, he suggested the opposite, to go onslaught Green Bay or whatever, like boots on the ground take from Chicago. That Chicago's about to give up, and I don't necessarily disagree with him. So instead of me listening to him and playing, and not playing the Caleb Williams, what I'll do is I'll also play some Green Bay, like you just kind of alluded to earlier, that maybe playing the Jordan. I don't think anybody's going to do it. Now, I don't know who the hell I'm going to play Jordan Love with, because everybody is the same, and that is the problem. But I don't know, like this Green Bay plays these freaking high scoring games, and you have volatility on the receiver on the quarterback with Chicago, and you got some high upside receivers that you could throw in there. And I don't know, maybe this could be like a 38-30 just wild Chicago Green Bay game out of nowhere with the new coaching staff, and on a slate which, if you have one game that blows up like that, that's the end. I really think that's the end of the slate. If you get one kind of low owned game like that puts up 60 points, I think that's going to be it. So I'm going to try some of that. And the good thing is Bob, as you would say, I don't have to play that much of it, to get over the field with it. So I'm going to do some Caleb Williams up, and we'll pair him with the usual guys. And I will play some Green Bay also, just for the help.
Yeah, I think that makes some sense. Those are definitely two interesting ones to get different. I'm pretty chalky with my main quarterbacks, with the Geno, Purdy, and Jameis as being my three favorites.
Yep.
But I just want to throw it out there that there's not a guarantee that Jameis Winston even plays the second half. Like if he has a bad first half, like it's not like we're all going to play this guy. And by the way, this ownership is not real. I looked at Sheets and Goldies. I think Jameis will be like almost 10%. And I think he might end up being the highest owned quarterback Purdy, and Smith should be pretty close. I want to be over the field on Lamar, so I've got 5% of that. I mean, I can really spread out a quarterback. Again, you don't usually win based on your quarterback, but it does lead you into your game stacks. Josh Allen is one I like a lot. Aaron Rodgers I'm getting to, but I would rather keep that in my smaller buy-in stuff. I just don't entirely trust him. What you do have with Rodgers that makes it really nice, I do like both Wilson and Adams today, and you have a really, really narrow, target pool. They're mostly going to those two, and then you're going to get some Conklin as well. So I do like that a little bit, and I think getting a little bit of Stafford makes some sense. So those would be, I guess, my takes. Nothing too outlandish.
Before we go on, I want to back into some quarterbacks, because we're going to talk about some receivers later. You're going to be getting like these cheapos from New England that's going to show up as good values, and you're going to get Raiders showing up as good values too. Are you gonna be playing any Drake May as a result, and or some Garrett Minshew as a result, or not really?
I just had to pare down. They're trying to give me too much Minshew, and I'm trying to get away from it. But I would like to play a little bit of Drake May personally.
Okay. I got a question too. Are you guys getting any Russell Wilson in the optimizer? Or Sims is giving me some Russell Wilson too.
Yeah,
against
Russell Wilson, I don't mind at all. With how bad
you like him? Yeah. I know we haven't really mentioned him, but I was wondering if that was. I kind of want to pair him or tame him back a little bit. Sims is giving me quite a bit of Wilson right now, so
yeah. And
when I ran one,
I'll throw another guy out that you kind of talked about earlier in the week, and I want to just follow up with you. You like I don't know if you might have just mentioned him again. You like any Anthony Richardson?
Yeah, I've been playing one big lineup on FanDuel, and I'm actually using him as quarterback just because of the rushing upside, and he's so cheap over there. I just think he's too cheap, but like he might just be really bad. He's another one that may not start the second half if things don't go well. He probably will, but just for the rushing upside alone, and I think that makes him worth it. But I can't believe how many. I've got 21 quarterbacks right now that I'm playing, which is just bizarre. And most of them I didn't put any ownership on that I wanted. I did want to get a little bit of the Wilson, a little bit of Lamar Jackson, but I'm getting a lot of this other weird stuff, and I don't know why I'm getting as much Derek Carr as I am, but I'm going to try to pare back some of that stuff just to try and tighten up this pool a little bit. I do think the Rody's lower on the Baltimore game. I actually really like the Baltimore game. I haven't seen Baltimore's defense. Their secondary has been just getting torched. You can't really run on them, but you can beat them through the air. And at the same time, this is by far the best offense in football. I don't think it's even particularly close with Baltimore and anybody else. I don't see anybody who's even who's come close to them. Maybe you could argue for Detroit, but I don't think they're as good as Baltimore either. So I love getting to some of the Baltimore when other people aren't. All right. Running back. Starting with you, Rody.
Running back. I'm kind of like in the there. I mean, there's like not really much value today. I like these high end guys though. I like a lot of Kamara and CMC today. Devin Achane at 7,200. I really like. I mean, those are the three chalky ones. But if we're gonna get a little bit lower ownership, I like David Montgomery a little bit today at 6,500. In that Lions game, he could go for 2 touchdowns in that game. And then you got Estimine for Denver. It has a 4,500 value. I was going to ask you guys on him. I'm not very high on that, but he's like a value piece we could talk about. Running back, I'm really struggling with. I like Swift in my love run back a little bit, lower ownership again in that game. Gibbs, you can play too. I like him. I like both Lions running backs. I kind of want to mix those guys in. Kenneth Walker's a lower owned one. I could come back in my Seattle as for a Seattle run back against my Sam Purdy stack. I'm thinking about doing. So just kind of get different with my stack with the run backs on that in those games using some running backs. So
I think that makes a lot of sense. And for what it's worth, I'm on the estimate today.
You like him? Okay.
I don't care what other people are going to not play him. He looked like he was going to be 1,000,000% owned earlier in the week, and then we just, look, we don't really know what it is, but I'm willing to gamble on a 4,500 guy who may actually be the main back, and he certainly looked like it last week. So I'm gonna take that gamble and I'm gonna roll with it at least 20%. I think. Sheets, where are you getting running back wise?
Well, that's what we talked about earlier in the week, right? We figured that Estimate would either be 70% owned or 8.
Right.
And I was hoping that between the billions of dollars being punched into DFS lineups and different content sites and different research people, whatever, that someone would get to the bottom of what's going to happen with Estimate, but nobody has apparently.
I don't think anyone knows.
But nobody, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But hey, you know how I feel about that kind of stuff. There's enough money, and you'll freaking find out what's going to happen.
Well, but with Sean Payton specifically, he is a very strange guy. Like he will just let somebody take over. He'll have a main running back that literally just completely change it, the next week. He's done this a bunch of times throughout his career. Sorry, go ahead, Chicks.
Yeah. And what about there was another possible injury that was going to, if it came to pass, would make Cam Akers something. Who was supposed to be? Who's questionable in that game?
Aaron Jones, but
okay.
I believe didn't we find out about that? Let me just double check where.
Has that been confirmed? Is he playing?
Why?
I haven't seen nothing on him pop up, but
yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
it is maybe one we're still waiting on. Then
okay, because that's another decision that's going to have to be made if in fact Aaron Jones is out. So we'll just the injury report's going to be pretty soon.
I think they announced him in, as far as I remember.
Okay, I'm just. It could be. I mean,
yeah, I don't have a questionable mark next to him, but
no, it looks good. Yeah, that's fine. It does not have an injury designation. All right, okay, I was just catching up.
Well, but that's an interesting point. Why aren't we playing him? Why isn't he getting more love?
Well, I'm getting there. Okay. Yeah. So for me, I'm pretty much with as far as what I'm getting. The usual guys that Rody mentioned. I mean, McCaffrey, Achane, and Kamara are the three guys with the with the work, and Kenneth Walker, and I'm also getting Breece Hall, and then I'm getting like kind of, I'd like to say with the field, but I don't know what Estimate is going to end up being. I'm like 18%, so maybe that's exactly what he's going to be at the end of the day, could be. I'm not playing the split workload guys. Like I'm not playing those Detroit guys. I know they can either both get there or one of them can really smash. It's a great matchup and whatever it is. I've just never had any luck guessing right. The other guy again, who I think I want to just pile in some just as a pivot off of all this Cleveland stuff is Nick Chubb.
Love that.
So I'm definitely going to put that in. And then other running backs, you could always play Jonathan Taylor again. and I am playing a kind of a field weight of Aaron Jones here,
Mhm.
at 15%, something like that. And then maybe as part of my 10% exposure to Chicago's, I'll get some Swift in there, maybe.
Mhm.
But overall, I think McCaffrey, A Chain, Kamara, you know what I mean? Good team totals, good workload. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason why those are the 3 top owned, I think.
Yeah, I've got those 3 as my highest owned, and I'll probably still just be near the field on them. It's not going to be anything revolutionary. I mean, Saberson thinks Estime is going to be really low owned. Even your projections in Goldies are having sub 10%. I'm going to have double that. I'll have 20% of it.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, and then I'm getting some Brees Hall. I am getting to both of the running backs for the Lions, but like 8%, nothing huge. I like the Chubb idea. I want to get 10% of that. I think that this is the one thing that I could see blowing up at some point, and it's a way to totally flip any of the Cleveland chalk, and maybe Chubb gets the 2 or 3 touchdowns today. I like that idea quite a bit. He's getting the touches. He hasn't done much with them, but he's getting the touches, and we've seen New Orleans looked amazing against the run early in the season, and then have been one of the worst since then. So I like that idea quite a bit. All right. Wide receiver, starting with you, Sheets, and then we'll go to Rody.
Before I leave this the running back position, did you get any the Kyron Williams, Bobby?
I didn't get to much of it, to be honest with you, and I think it's an interesting way to go. What is his ownership going to be? I think it's going to be reasonable.
I don't know, but he's just always like the top workload guy, So
yeah, I probably should get to a little bit more than I got at 12% right now. I think I'd like to more of that. Make sure I end up with like 10, because I think there's a very real chance that he outscores Achan or Kamara. So I think it's
if he runs better touchdown wise, it's always possible. It's like
touchdown variance. Yeah, I do like Cup, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I like the Rams offense a little bit. I think that game is a little bit sneaky for production, because you just get so many targets with those 2 guys, and then Drake May, if you play him on the other side, you could end up he can end up running 1 or 2 and he almost ran for 100 yards. I think he did run for 100 yards. All right, wide receiver Sheets.
Yeah, I don't know about this Boutte business. I played him last week. I talked to him last week when the whole Patriots team, nobody played, right?
Right.
And literally nothing has changed, and he's 30% owned or whatever it is. I'm not saying he's 30% owned, but now listen, it's a different week. There's no value this week, so somebody like that is going to pop up a lot greater. But it's catches the ball and he falls down on the ground. You know what I mean? He's not exactly, Randy Moss out there, Right. So I don't know about this. I'm probably going to be under on that whole business. As far as who I am getting, and this is not that this is any better, but I'm going to be right now. I'm way over on this freaking Cedric Tillman. It's probably stupid, but I don't know. He gets a lot of his work in freaking garbage time too. You know what I mean? It's like annoying. But if I'm gonna play the Cleveland, I mean, you got to play him. He's cheap, So I'm getting that. I'm also getting Jerry Jeudy as part of that whole Cleveland business. And then my top owned receiver, aside from those 2 guys, it's extremely bizarre. But I'm getting 32% of Jawan Jennings. For San Francisco. I don't know exactly what that's all about, but that's where I am.
Yeah, no kidding.
And there you go, right? Yeah. And then after that, I'm dropping down to like everybody's 15% or lower, like a St. Brown, Garrett Wilson from the Jets. Once I plug in Chicago guys, like I'll probably end up with 10% or more, and Odunze or whoever else, right? Elijah Moore also from Cleveland. I have over 10%. And then getting some Rashad Bateman over 10%, but the main guys for me are the Cleveland guys and this Jawan Jennings thing.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting, like something that Gunnar is bringing up in here in the disc in the chat, and about the Will Levis and Ridley. I do like Ridley. And I think that Levis is the kind of play that certainly has the upside to win, but I don't think it like stands out as being like it's hard to watch him play, but every now and then he can break one off, both running and also you have a nice, easy pairing with Ridley that I think makes some sense. All right, Rody, what do you got at wide receiver?
Yeah, I like a lot. I've just like built some of my main lineups. I'm like, man, I got Jennings quite a bit. I got Elijah Moore, like she'd said. I like Tyreek Hill in my Tua stack. I kind of like that Dolphins game today. Sutton is another one in the Denver game, but I do like a cheap guy for a value in that same game that Valley, yeah, whatever. Jacoby Myers in my run back for the Tua stack at 5,600. You can play Tillman. I don't mind pivoting to Jerry Jeudy too. And that, I mean, they got the three guys, right? And then maybe Judy's the less owned one versus Tillman. You know, I don't mind Judy or Moore in that one a little bit more. Jaden Reed, I don't mind stacking. He's only 6,400 now. I mean, yeah, we don't know who they're going to throw it to, but I like him with my love stack at low owned. Keenan Allen's only 5,200 if you want to bring him back in that game. Jameson Williams is 5,800. I think Jacksonville gives up big plays. So if you're not stacking, what'd you say?
No, go ahead.
Oh, if you don't mind, want to full stack that game, like he could get a big play. I like him over 50 yards today. You know, I see that. Yeah, he looks pretty good. Like 44 and over for his yards prop today, I think. So that looks pretty good. I think. So yeah, those are just some of the guys I like that stand out to me today. You know, I think cheaper options. I'm going with the spend up running back, so I need to get some of these cheaper guys that I like today. So I'm kind of diving in that range today.
Yeah, I want to get overweight. I got to get maybe even more. I like that Jameson Williams call. I think this is that, like you said, they give up big plays, Jacksonville, and it's the kind of game where you can maybe have a little fun for Detroit and maybe throw a couple bombs to them. And that's
yeah. For what it's worth, I know Bobby posted his bets and better takes too. He's got a bunch of overs today. You had the over for Jacksonville, the over for Green Bay, over for the Browns Saints game, and that's kind of what we're going with. What we've been talking about today. Yeah. So I like that. Bobby's bet's been a fire too for NFL. So I'm kind of following suit with my DFS play with his bets today a little bit. So
yeah, and I'm trying to do the same thing myself. I hope I'm right though. Keep getting weirdly enough, the one team I keep getting wrong is the freaking Rams this year. The only team I seem to get wrong. I cannot win or bet in the Rams games. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, look, I'm going to have the Tillman. I'm going to play the Tillman and the Myers. Tillman has given us no reason not to play him. Like every time in this situation, he's put up 18, 29, and 19 and a half. I'm totally good with eating some of the chalk there. I like the Juwan Jennings play, but I'm trying to get more Ricky Pearsall as a pivot. And I think that's something that I need to manually try to make myself do. I'm at 11%. Okay, that's not so bad. I feel pretty good about the 11% of Pearsall. I want to maybe be a little bit higher, but Pickens, Garrett Wilson, and Devontae Adams both I like. And then Kupp and Nakua, Cortland Sutton. I'm probably gonna my wide receiver pool is probably gonna look a lot different because I have a lot of wide receivers in the Seattle San Francisco game. I'm over the field. I'm overweight, I believe, on every Seattle receiver because they're not getting any ownership, and I think I'm going to end up overweight on each of them. And I like the Pearsall, as I mentioned, with San Francisco. I also like Sutton. So it's really going to depend on how my lineups are doing, and then I'll do my late swap stuff. We'll see how that goes later on today. But I also like Hopkins in that game, and then I'm sort of playing roulette with the Buffalo receivers a little bit. Because even if Cooper's good to go with a cast, I don't feel great about the idea of it. Someone who's like his reason he's great is his hands, and he's playing in the cast. So I don't really love it. All right, Sheets, start us off at tight end. Our guy, we get to play our guy again.
Our guy,
Davis Allen.
Yeah, you get to play your guy. We get to play our guy. I also get to play Jonnu Smith. 22%. I have that. I have 22% of that. You have Dalton Kincaid out for the Bills. So you can get Dawson Knox. I'm getting 25% of that. I'm getting 22% of the AJ Barner.
Yeah.
From Seattle. Getting that as well. And then, thematically getting David Njoku from Cleveland. And thematically, I'll probably end up with a sliver or two of the Cole Kmet from the Chicago sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I think that your tight end pool is a little smaller than mine. This is where I'm maybe most spread out today. Maybe I need.
Well, there are more. But yeah, but go ahead.
No, I've just got a bunch of guys like 7 to 10%, and
you got Hawkinson at all?
Hawkinson, I don't have much of. I don't believe.
I mean, he just seems really cheap. I mean,
that seemed cheap for him. Maybe I'll manually let's at least get over the field on it. Okay, I'm in on the Hawkinson idea. How about you, Rody? What are you getting at tight end?
Yeah, spread out too a little bit more. I've been kind of spread out at tight end the last few weeks, even. But Barner is a cheap play today. You got Knox is a cheap play, 3,500, and you got Davis Allen 2,500. I mean, that's great. Eric Saubert for the San Francisco stack if you want to.
Yeah.
Like I don't. There's a lot of cheap tight ends that I'm getting in my Saberson build I'm looking at right now.
Guys, I'll be right back. I got to do something.
Okay, do your thing.
Okay.
Go ahead, Rudy.
Yeah, and I'm trying to maybe look at a spend up option, but I'm still, even when I do love, I got Tucker Kraft at 4,400. Kelsey's a 6,300 spend up, and Ingram I'm getting a little bit of a decent amount of actually 5,200. So a couple spend ups that I like. Njoku you can stack in that Jameis Winston stack. I don't mind that. I'm probably going to end up with him in that, and then Brock Bowers at 5,800 if you want to run back your Tua. Dolphin stack I like a lot too, and then maybe you don't play John, you play like Achan to Hill with the Brock. It gets kind of expensive, but you can run that, something like that I like. And then you got the tight ends for the Saints that are still been popping every week. Basically your optimals, like looking at Juwan Johnson, but I think this week it's going to pivot a little bit. I think I got Barner in there or Ingram. They like both of those guys as like a cash optimal play, I think. So yeah, I'm just kind of spread out there. A lot of value there today though. But I talked in my article, the playbook that I wrote, like I'm kind of stacking my like Tua with Jonnu and like Love with Kraft. Like I'm Purdy. I wanted to do Kittle. I put that in my article, but now Kittle's out. So
yeah,
like maybe I play the Saubert guy. I just don't know. I like Purdy, CMC, Jennings, or Parasol as my like a little 3-man stack. Like I just don't know what I'm doing with that last Purdy stack that I want to build. So
yeah, I got you. One of my biggest takes is when I got to get more of Hunter Henry. I really like, when it's all said and done, I think Taysom Hill is going to be the guy I play the most. I just am going to gamble. Look, he doesn't have that 90 yarder called back last week. He's the most popular tight end on the slate. I don't think it's going to be close. I just think it's just got to hold back. That's what happens. But I'll take that. I have Davis Allen for the value. Brock Bowers is the spend up. Tyler Conklin is another cheapo. And then I like Andrews. I want to be overweight Andrews. And I actually have a little bit of interest in Likely in that game. But those are, again, very, very spread out for me at tight end at the moment. I think I'm going to end up marrying myself to more Davis Allen and Taysom Hill as my main guys, actually.
Who is the Denver tight end?
Denver's tight end, they don't throw it to him. It's Troutman and Kroll and like all those guys. They,
Yeah, I
wrote Denver tight end because there's like nobody's projected for over like 1 point from like.
Yeah, they don't throw it to them all that much, and they play all three of them, including Adkins. So it's a little tricky. Yeah. Troutman would probably be the one who gets the most snaps, I would guess. But it'd be probably close between him and Kroll. Poker X Factor, your old buddy saying that MVS. I did put in a projection on MVS today, just because last week I forced him in, and obviously he was the highest scoring player on the slate. Where did I put him on my thing? I just made sure I got at least a couple percentage of him. But I probably would. I'll take a shot and take a little more. I like that game, so let's get a little bit more of MVS. All right, let's talk about some defenses. Sheets' favorite topic. Sheets, who are you playing 20% of since we don't go above 20?
Titans, Jets, Bears, Patriots. Those are my top 4.
I gotcha. How about you, Rody? What are you doing over there?
Yeah, if I look at it, it's actually pretty spread out defense-wise this week in the Saberson build. They're like 19, 19, 18, 16, 13. But yeah, Dolphins, Jets, tight ends. It's popping a little bit of Bears in here. I'm not too fond of the Bears, but I mean the Jets and the Titans I'm kind of playing a little bit more. I don't mind the Patriots as well in that game a little bit. At 2,500, I like them. I've built them, and I know they're going against your Rams, but I find a cheap. I'm spreading out. I play all these defenses, so
yeah.
I might have the Titans, I might have the Patriots in a big lineup. Even the Jags, I got at 2,200. I wish we had some 2K defenses this year. I really haven't had that. I like playing those all the time, but those are kind of my main ones. But I do like the Jets and Dolphins probably the best as a decent defense to play this week. So
yeah, I like the Jets and Dolphins significantly better than I like everybody else. The Bears, where I needed the extra 400, I'm getting some of that. I think Tennessee is definitely worth it, but the problem is the ownership. So I like pivoting over to your, like you mentioned, the Patriots a little bit, and I really like the Rams if you can get up to them as a pivot off the Dolphins. I think the Rams have a good shot at having a big day defensively. That's pretty much the main ones for me. So I guess we're gonna transition over to what other stacks have we not mentioned, or what other some sort of final thoughts?
Before we do that, are you going to be playing the Bengals Chargers game on FanDuel?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So I only played one lineup, and I'm okay with playing it for sure. I ended up using Richardson. Herbert looks like the cheap play everyone's going to go to. I keep reminding everybody that team does not want to go crazy throwing the ball. They'll do it, but it's not like that's not their game plan. But Herbert's fine. I think that would be my take, and I think that obviously not a great matchup for Chase, but Higgins should be back. So I kind of like Herbert, Higgins, and I think you could gamble with any of the receivers from the Chargers. How about you, Sheets? What are you getting?
I don't know. I kind of like that game.
Yeah.
I mean, Bengals give up stuff, and Chase is live for 80 fantasy points. So I don't know. Definitely not the greatest. The greatest matchup, but I don't know if it's going to be ignored. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually think it's going to get pretty decent ownership on. I've noticed that on FanDuel, the late game seems to get a lot more ownership than it would, I think, if it played earlier. Like every week, it's been really owned. So I would guess that Herbert would be one of the most popular plays on FanDuel, just based on the pricing. Rod, are you playing FanDuel at all today?
I wasn't, but there's still some stuff open. I have a late start today, but yeah, maybe I could do a Herbert stag over there or something. I don't know. It looks.
You get to play your Chargers finally, man.
I haven't played much Chargers this year, so maybe
they're a different team with this Harbaugh. They're a good real life football team, but not great for DFS.
No, I know. So I haven't talked about it much this year, but yeah, maybe I'll toss a FanDuel lineup. You guys talk me into it. I see that Blitz is only $200 this week. I must have lowered that, huh? I thought it was 222 or something.
I don't know why it's 200 this week.
Yeah, I told myself not to play FanDuel today because I'm running way behind. I still have to build some of my main lineups, but on DraftKings. But
all right, cool. Well, fortunately, we got through this show pretty quick, guys. Please click the like, and subscribe and all that stuff. Sheets, any hot take or final thoughts about what you like in this slate?
Yeah, Bears Packers.
There we go. Okay, that's hot. That's a hot one. I need to find my hot take. I'm not even sure what it is exactly at the moment. You know what? I've done it twice. I don't think I'm allowed to do the Taysom Hill thing again, although I like that. But I will say that one of the Seattle's receivers, and my bet would be on Metcalf, will be in the winning lineup. And he's supposed to be 6% owned, so I think it's hot enough. How about you, Rody?
Oh man,
Anything?
It took me with the Bears and Packers. I'm real surprised she said that. I really like that actually because in my playbook I have three main stacks: a Dolphin stack, Packer stack, and a 49er stack. So I'm definitely on that game for the Bears Packers, and then I like the 49ers. So you mentioned some receivers, but I don't know. I like Tyreek Hill today. I think maybe he has a slate breaking game. Let's go with the Dolphins. Since you guys need the other two games.
That Tyreek Hill is definitely one I can get behind. I think that could be
cheap. He's cheap. He's not like price Tyreek Hill.
He's the cheapest he's ever been.
Yeah. So let's go with Tyreek Hill. Guys, I do not typically play Dolphins. I usually Bengals and Dolphins are the two teams when they're chalk, I like just not even play them. Mm-hmm. And I don't even play them when they're not chalk a lot of times. So like for me to play Dolphins is pretty weird. So
it's kind of weird the Dolphins aren't more popular today, right?
Yeah, they're not. I think Tua hasn't looked good since he's come back, and I think people have been off him. So maybe people think
they can get
it together today. Maybe I don't know.
I like
or
that.
There's some stuff going on there. I've heard maybe I don't know.
I like that. I think it's interesting. All right, Rody, go ahead and take us on out of here then.
All right, yeah. Good luck, guys, and as always, let's get it.
Let's get it. Wait 1 sec.
Wait.
So again, for later today, if everybody just didn't drop off,
they're still
there. So I wanted to do some like live sweat thing later, but I also wanted to pair that with either the NBA or the Showdown, and the NBA slate is at 6, so it's a little annoying. It's just not as late as I kind of want to do it. But then there's the Showdown slate that you can come up and go over. I think we should do something with this late stuff.
Yeah, I agree with you. My Sundays are sort of I booked up for the next 3 weeks, but in general, I'm totally on board once I'm done with the family stuff.